Hello, my name is Benny. I'm a judge for the RPG Maker Game Jam 2025. This game is called Chronocide, Beyond the Paradox. I'm excited. Just woke up, ready to go. Let's start this timer and let's play. In this world, there exist those known as holders. We were watching a holder on stream recently. Actually, I'll pause the timer because I just got to crop that top pixel row off. There we go. Welcome in, Slim. Yay! Oh, Slim, I loved playing your game, by the way. Just as an aside, I loved playing your game. Thank you so much. Please keep watching Eurovision and please enjoy Eurovision. I've been watching some of those highlights and yeah. Holder mentioned, yeah. Exactly. All right, let's keep playing. There's holders, individuals born with supernatural abilities. A holder is. Some fully understand their powers and live among society without issue. Others never realize their abilities and go on to live ordinary lives. Mine isn't exactly what you'd call an ability, but I've always had an exceptional memory. And now I use that ability to help people by solving their requests. I will say, it's good writing, but it is funny. I don't know if you notice this. Mine isn't exactly what you'd call an ability, but I've had an exceptional memory. I use this ability. So you went out of your way to say it's not an ability, and you're like, okay, I use this ability to help people. It's funny though. It's just funny. Thank you for coming all this way. This is quite a mansion. Are you perhaps the client, Gavin? Slim, I'm gonna pause the timer. Slim says, thanks, Benny. Happy to hear that. Super bummed we didn't queue Tuesday, but that's life. Oh, you didn't queue Tuesday? Oh, qualify. Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry that your country didn't qualify. But that is life. Yeah. Awesome. All right, this is quite a mansion. Are you perhaps the client, Kevin? I got a cough. I'm gonna pause this timer a lot. Sorry, my bad. Just morning things. Wait. Welcome in, Spit. Welcome in. How you doing? Are you perhaps the client, Gavin? I should have introduced myself. I'm Kevin. Did we just say Gavin and then they're Kevin? I don't know. Yeah, we called them Gavin and they're Kevin. The client is different. The client is waiting upstairs. Let me show you the way. I mean, it's funny. I actually do like the writing so far. And as I mentioned beforehand, please keep everything you see here strictly confidential. The person standing by the bed is the client. Very matter-of-fact writing. You know, sometimes it benefits to have some really matter-of-fact writing because you don't have to be, overly flowery. You can just be like, this is what is happening. It has a very procedural sort of, as long as it has some procedural momentum to it, then you can sort of get away with being very direct. You two look quite alike. Are you brothers by any chance? No. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but for now, it's best to hear Gavin's story first. Okay. I'm Gavin, and this is my partner, Amelia. I apologize for not greeting you properly. Thank you for coming. Especially when it's under the guise of formalities, and you can get away with being very direct. It's quite all right. My name is Noah. I heard this request concerns Miss Amelia. Could you tell me more about the situation? Amelia is suffering from a rare disease. There's very little information about it, and her condition worsened rapidly after symptoms appeared. We searched for a cure for a long time, but in the end we couldn't find one, and she's not expected to make it through the night. I see, that must be very difficult. You must be tired after your long journey. Would you like to rest for a bit? We can talk more about the request tonight. There's something about this writing that I really like. It is the procedural style where it has everything in the right place, but it's not showy, and it's very, it's just normal talking. It's very nice, but it's like formal in this situation. For now, I'd like to stay here. I hope you'll understand. I understand. I'll speak with you again tonight. It's very nice. It feels nice, Mr. Noah, allow me to show you to your room. Quite dead silence at the moment. I thought you. Oh. Did they just teleport us to our room? I play Doom. Oh, you playing Doom? Spit. Hope you're having fun. I'm gonna be playing Clair Obscure later. Maybe even today. Maybe on stream. We'll see. Ooh. Debating to buy DLC for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Oh, interesting. That should be fun. That should be fun. Legasp. Oh, this was to Spit, by the way, not the story. The story, she has passed away. This is sad. The story is sad. I apologize to the developer. I'm talking to Spit in chat at the moment. But may she rest in peace. Thank you. In the end, even today, I failed to save Amelia. Yeah, oops, Spit, you made me look insensitive for a second. Today again, what do you mean by that? Let's move somewhere else first. Yeah, because it literally had the reveal of a dead body, and I'm like, gasp. I didn't mean it so flippantly. Let me introduce myself properly. I'm Gavin, the original owner of this mansion, the one who carries the ability Time Rewind. Oh, we can rewind time? When I was younger, I met Amelia for the first time. I fell in love with her at first sight and desperately wanted to win her heart. I didn't mute this game, did I? Why is it not having any music for the game? After we became lovers, time passed peacefully until a fear began to grow inside me. I thought that if I ever used my ability again, I might lose the bond we had built. Yeah, it's just not showing anything in my volume mixer. Eventually, I confessed everything to her. My ability, my way of life. I was ready to accept whatever consequences might come. I thought she would despise me, but Amelia, she accepted every part of me. From that day on, I made a vow never to use my ability again. I just wanted to protect the simple days we had together. However, that happiness didn't last long. One day, Amelia developed a rare disease, and her condition deteriorated at an unbelievable pace. To save her, I was even prepared to lose every memory I had with her and attempted to rewind time. But the furthest point I could return to was already after the disease had begun. As for why that is, I'll skip the explanation for now. Okay. I knew she didn't have much time left, but from the moment the illness appeared, there just wasn't enough time to find a cure. This writing is really good. It's just very to the point, very well done. I keep saying that, but it's hard to find. It's hard. Allow me to continue from here, but first there's something I must show you. Oh, there is sound and it is working. Just now, Amelia, she... Oh, we went back in time, did we? Oh, yep. There's another version of Gavin. While I was hesitating on what to do, the day finally arrived. Amelia passed away. I cried out in anguish. I couldn't leave her side even as the night wore on. And then a miracle happened. Just past midnight, I realized Amelia was breathing again in her bed. At first, I couldn't believe my eyes, but the sheer joy of knowing she was alive brought me to tears. But no. The next day, at the exact same time, Amelia passed away again. Oh, it's like Groundhog Day, but she's passing away every day? That is sad. It wasn't until the third day that I realized something was wrong. At midnight, everything would reset to the day Amelia died. That would absolutely suck. What a horrible not horrible as in, artistically bad, but what a horrifying concept, Fear overwhelmed me. I ran out of the mansion in the middle of the night. I traveled anywhere I could, desperately searching for answers, but after several days I returned with nothing. I even wished it had all just been a dream, that Amelia had simply died and was lying quietly in bed, unmoving. I woke up in front of the bed, determined to care for Amelia. I did everything I could. But by afternoon, Amelia passed away again, holding my hand, and I fell asleep at her side. I fear it's probably wise for anyone who might be very, very, sensitive to the topic of dying, loved ones dying, to take care and watching this. Love you very, very much, and I hope that you're doing okay. This is already very heavy. But, if we have the stomach, let's go on wherewithal. The next day, I woke up once more beside her bed, and again I did everything I could to help her rest peacefully, but the outcome was the same. That day repeated over and over again. That same day, the same death. Then one day, as I was preparing for Amelia's final moments, like always, a sound came from outside the door. I turned instinctively, and there stood someone who looked exactly like me. That's impossible. The moment I locked eyes with that me, I rushed at him without thinking, and just like this, an invisible wall separated us. We could see each other, but neither of us could cross the boundary of this room. Wow. We argued in front of the door for a long time. At first, we each thought the other was lying. But after a long exchange, when we were both exhausted, we finally calmed down and began to assess the situation rationally. Through repeated trials, they discovered several key facts about the phenomenon. The abnormal phenomenon occurred only inside Amelia's room. Outside the room, time flowed normally. The two began calling this mysterious repetition a time loop, and Amelia's room the loop space. Oh my goodness. Gavin retained his memories even while trapped in the loop. Those connected to the time loop, Gavin, Kevin, and Amelia, could not pass beyond the loop space. Objects could move across the boundary, but duplicated objects removed from the room could no longer cross it again, just like the people within it. We decided to work together to save Amelia. We realized we couldn't solve this alone, so we came up with a long-term plan. Mr. Noah, how much do you know about the ability? Only that two people can't have the same ability, and their abilities are passed down to descendants. Okay, so we live in a sort of alternate universe where there's this thing called the ability that some people have, and they have a special quote-unquote ability that gets passed down like in a hereditary manner. And I'm guessing this time loop ability is an ability that's been passed down. That's enough. Also, abilities are inherited only when the original holder disappears. And though rare, there are some who possess more than one ability. So we came to a conclusion. We needed a new holder of Time Rewind, someone who could carry on the search for us. As it happened, I lost my ability after that day. In other words, the Time Rewinder had vanished from this world. The only thing left was to find someone with the ability to live a long life. So I left the mansion and eventually found someone. A noble family that had built great influence over generations. She was the descendant of the bloodline known for ability of ageless longevity. Oh, so there's someone with the ability to live for a very long time? When I confirmed that no heir from her family had yet awakened their ability, I thought fate had finally given us a chance. I did everything I could to win her heart. Eventually, I married her. Oh, wow. Okay. So Kevin took like the thing of like, I found this person with longevity of life, and I married her on purpose because she had longevity of life, and the child was born with the potential to inherit both ageless longevity and time rewind. But I couldn't keep the truth hidden forever. One day, after our child had grown a little, I confessed everything to her. Lilia. I'm yawning, sorry. Why? It's just because I just woke up. Wait, what did you say? Lilia? Did you say Lilia? She was furious, told me to never appear in front of our son again, and kicked me out. I was ready to face prison for deceiving her noble family, but she didn't go that far. Since then, I've been supporting her family from behind the scenes, and now here we are. Yes, your guess was right. I'm your father, Noah. Oh, wow. So this is why my mother never spoke of you. Whoa. Literally a Star Wars I am your father moment. So it seems that Kevin has summoned Noah, his son. Oh, because Noah would have the powers of time loop and ageless longevity, so to speak. The man she loved and trusted using her for some twisted plan, lying to her, betraying her. How could you stand in front of me now without shame? And you're no different, Gavin. Did you really think I'd help you after hearing all this? Do you have any idea how my mother must have felt raising me alone? Sorry, Kevin revealing the truth and parting ways with Lilia, that wasn't part of the plan. But we were in a position to be choosy with our methods. So Gavin is the Kevin in the loop? I'm trying to remember. I might have misinterpreted some plot moments. I apologize. That's your excuse? Enough. I'll never forgive you. I realize I also think I should put this. I'm just going to alter something about my stream setup. 1 second. Apologize. Apologize? Apologies. I mean, there we go. That's better. Oh, wow. What just happened? I think Noah did not try and charge into the room. There's a force field there, man. It worked. There was only a slim chance the ability would awaken, but it seems luck was on our side. What are you saying? Strong emotions, deep trauma. These are the most common triggers for awakening the ability, especially for someone with the power of time rewind. Oh, so Gavin is manipulating their son. Is Noah Kevin's or Gavin's son, or are Gavin and Kevin the same person? I think Gavin and Kevin are the same person, or are they twins? I'm trying to figure out. I don't understand. Are you saying I've awakened the ability? Even if that's true, so what? Nothing erases what you did to my mother. Your anger is valid, but you should know some of what we said earlier was exaggerated to push you emotionally. Oh, hard to believe, I know, but your mother agreed to all of this. Oh, wait. It's a trope that when someone says something like that, it's actually true, but we'll see. You really think I'll believe that? No one would agree to this, not even someone as kind as her. It's too late for lies. Maybe there was a reason. It's not a lie. If you doubt me, go ask her yourself. Fine, I will. If that's true, then why? Why would she agree to something so insane? Did you threaten her or something? No. Truth is, I don't really know either. After a few weeks after she kicked me out, she came to find me on her own. I was shocked. She wasn't angry anymore, at least not like before. She spoke to me calmly like she used to, and then she said she'd help us. She wanted to assist in saving Gavin and Amelia. Mother said that herself? She did. I asked her why, but she never told me. All she said was, think of it as punishment for being deceived. I will say, silence can be used well in stories to indicate tension, but I think that in a game like this, maybe a bit of music would be, preferable at some point, to heighten the drama. The rest you already know. I supported her family behind the scenes. She was able to reclaim her legacy. And you grew up in a good environment. This can't be. So now are you willing to accept my request? Whether what you've told me is true or not, I'll know once I speak to my mother. For now, I'll hear you out, but if all this turns out to be a lie, then... We've already spent over 20 years reliving the same day over and over again. Oh, okay. 20 years, wow. Oh, so is Gavin the father, my bad, of Kevin. I'm trying to figure this all out. But what am I saying? The writing is very cool. I like how it's very logically, very logically led, and it's very matter of fact, and it makes everything super clear, even if it's a complicated concept, so I'm misunderstanding some things. I don't even know with the nature of these two, but what is there is I think it's exploring it very clearly. Thankfully, Amelia doesn't retain those memories. That alone has been a small relief for me. Even so, I've had to watch her die again and again, trapped in a fate I couldn't change. Because it's doing exposition, but at the same time being natural and providing emotional insight into the characters. And I think that's the best kind of exposition when you're doing exposition of mechanics while exploring people's emotional interiors. I will say though, this is a story that is mostly in one location and it's quite static. So that's something that sometimes you just feel like, is it best in the RPG Maker engine or something else? As a visual novel, you can make a visual novel inside the RPG Maker engine. I'm going to give this game one more minute because I was rambling about it for a bit, but yeah. I want to free her from this endless suffering. If that's possible, I'm prepared to give up everything. Mr. Noah, please find a way to save Amelia. If you succeed, I'll accept anything you ask of me, no matter what it is. Even if I ask for everything you have, you know better than anyone, it still wouldn't be enough to repay what happened. Yeah, so Noah's got some deep-seated trauma. Sigh. By the way, has my mother ever come here in person? She agreed to help, but never said she wanted to meet these two. We believed we had no right to ask her for anything, so whenever we needed to exchange thoughts, I acted as the intermediary. That sounds like her, though as always I have no idea what she's really thinking. Even if asked, I doubt she'd tell me. So Noah is revealing, a personal, emotional side, but also revealing that Noah's mother is quite, keeps to herself quite a bit. Yeah, this is good writing. Anyway, what's the plan from here? You said I've become a time rewinder, but right now I don't feel anything at all. Gavin explained in detail how the ability works and what its limitations are. Gavin and I are essentially the same person. Oh, so yeah, you are the same person. Yep. And you, I assume you've awakened the ability Time Rewind. That might be why you're no longer able to interfere with the room cut off from this world. Oh, so Kevin is. So since Gavin has been looping in there for 20 years, Kevin is the version of Gavin that. Well, they've both been living in their own relative time frames for like 20 years each, I think, right? But like Kevin has been going forward in real time. No, they've both been going forward in real time. It's just that Gavin's body has been re re looping over and over again, I think, right? And the only thing is the physical aspects of this chamber are looping. Welcome in, Narcotis. How you doing? How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. I'm doing very, very well this morning. I'm playing Chronocide, an admittedly very well written sort of speculative fiction, interesting thing. Hopefully you're doing well. Of course, it's only a hypothesis. We don't have time or resources to fully analyze this anomaly. So for now, we have no choice but to proceed based on this assumption. I'll pause just to explain. This is a game based on a time loop where a person secretly, and it's a little bit of a trigger, but it's like they secretly go through the death of their loved one over and over again every day. It's like Groundhog Day, but with, death of a loved one. It's really, it's dark. It's dark. Oh my goodness. But we don't have time or resources to fully analyze this anomaly. So for now, we have no choice but to proceed based on this assumption. You were able to enter that room at first, but now you can't. This phenomenon proves the validity of our theory. That alone significantly increases our chances of success. If we can prevent Emilia's death within this space, there's a high possibility that time loop will vanish as well. We should find a treatment strong enough to cure her illness in a matter of hours. If a cure exists, I'll give it to Emilia. The ability should remain a last resort, only to be used if everything else fails. Mr. Noah, I'd like to ask you to help us. Please work with Kevin to investigate the disease and find a treatment. I have no intention of using my ability. I'm not confident I can control it, and seeing the side effects firsthand made me afraid. If I learn anything useful, I'll come back here to share it. Thank you for your cooperation. I still haven't forgiven any of you. Before anything else, I need to confirm the truth of all this. One day you'll pay for what you've done. Amen, sister. Okay, so let's save. Oh, there's no menu. I know it's hard to believe now, but I truly loved your mother, Lilia, and even now that feeling hasn't changed. Even with Amelia here, you still think you have the right to say that? So there's no saving. That's one thing about it, is that you sort of have to experience this in full from start to finish. Unfortunately, we were never able to confirm if there were any other patients with this mysterious illness besides Amelia. We asked for your help, but honestly, we knew it wouldn't be easy. Would it be possible to obtain even a small sample, maybe hair or saliva? We've already tried that, but it wasn't possible, so we've decided that all investigations regarding her will be conducted here. Okay. Why is this all blocked off to the right here? Why can we walk on the glass that's on the ground? Ouch. A long time has passed. With the advancement of medicine, humanity conquered countless diseases. Oh, this is a twist. So we've already conquered... Oh, sorry. I mean, not all diseases, but countless, of course. After years of research and tracing data, I finally discovered the existence of a research institute that had once focused on rare diseases similar to Amelia's. With the hope that I might finally be able to end this long and persistent request, I set out for that place. It's too quiet to be called a research institute. The building's old and I don't sense anyone around. See, I wonder, why is there no music coming out? I just want, it's a little too silent for me. I know it's supposed to be silent, but like, the whole thing has been very silent. Just in case, let's go inside and check it out. Okay. Have a little bit of music, please. Have a little. Even if it's, you could have here background sound effects, like the sound effects of a street or something like that. Like, bustling, slightly bustling street, something. And then when you come in here, like the sound of inside of an abandoned building. There are different sounds you can use. Doesn't have to be straight up. Is it called diegetic or non-diegetic music. Maybe it was shut down due to financial problems. If only I had found this place a bit sooner. Well, it can't be helped. I should return to the manor and report what I've found. From what I found... Whoa, Kevin's old as now. Whoa. From what I found out, the research institute didn't produce much in the end. Since they mostly dealt with rare diseases, I suppose they lack results in funding. And Gavin's still young. Yeah, the body of Gavin's still young. Funding such an institute would take more than just a few years. Noah, how about using this chance to go back to the day you first awakened your ability? Tell our past selves about the current situation. Since I have the ability, convincing the younger Kevin should be enough. Now, how does time travel work in this world? Are we traveling within the same dimension? Are we seeing our past selves in a way that we would remember that we did see our past selves, or are we going to a alternate? Are we creating new timelines? Just so you know, Jeff, every time you roll this dice, you're creating 6 different timelines. Of course we are, Abed. That's a community reference, of course. Of course, turning back all that time is a big decision. It's less a reference and more a quote. Turning back all that time is a big decision, so the choice is yours. I wanted to solve this without relying on time rewind, but I don't have much of a choice now. It's the most practical option we have, and maybe it's a chance for me to try something new. I'll head out as soon as I'm ready. Okay. Seeing you unchanged while I've aged so much, it brings up a lot of feelings. Please don't apologize again, Father. I've heard it enough. Honestly, what frustrates me more is that you're still hesitating to live with Mother. You've already made peace, haven't you? It doesn't sound like it was something out of peace, mutual peace, or a reconciliation, but more a desperation if the Mother came back. I don't know. I want to, but I keep thinking, if someone as old as me stays by her side, people might look at us strangely. Now that people know she may be a holder of eternal youth, the ability to never age, you no longer have to hide yourself. But her time isn't endless. Don't miss the chance to make more memories while you still can. Honestly, I don't know what will happen to this world after I leave. Then let's do this. When you go back, tell my younger self to make peace with her quickly. Man, all this meddling with time, I'm not too sure. Not too sure about it. Something bothering you? I was just thinking, if we could keep selling replicated items, wouldn't that help with funding? I had the exact same thought when I first found out. We didn't know how much money we'd need, and we couldn't afford to be picky about methods. Unfortunately, once an item is duplicated as a result of the loop space, it can't be replicated again, even if its form has been changed or been destroyed. Don't worry too much. Kevin is far more capable than you might think. I've seen it myself countless times. A game console prepared especially for Gavin, but the X key and mouse are both broken. We can't use any skills without them. Oh, now we can go here. Okay. Time rewind. To timeline 1, that day. Let me explain the ability time rewind. Unlike most abilities, this one has a unique feature, the creation of what we call a return point. A return point is unconsciously created during moments of intense emotion or deeply traumatic events that leave a lasting mark on your memory. You remember how we tried to provoke your emotions, don't you? That was to make today your return point. This ability is a supernatural phenomenon in which your consciousness travels back to your past self. However, there are some limitations and risks. The most important limitation, you cannot return to a time before your return point. That's why I was never able to go back before Amelia's illness appeared. So my thought is, why is Gavin saying something different here if we went back in time to our previous self? If all the circumstances are the same, wouldn't they say the exact same thing? Unless whatever is inside this chamber is being preserved between iterations, basically as if we went back in time and Gavin saw us go back in time, saw everything out here go back in time, because what is inside here is a time bubble separated from everything that is outside here. So basically, Gavin is almost as if he's continuing his conversation with us right here. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. And because we went back in time and we have essentially changed the effects of the time and we've changed ourselves, we go to the future as if we're fast forwarding and not, feeling the effects of the deterministic way in which we've set our life from now on, because of what has been affected by this domino effect of this bubble interacting with this bubble. Also, if you fall into a mental state similar to the one you were in during your awakening, the current moment may overwrite your existing return point. Let me reread that. Also, if you fall into a mental state similar to the one you were in during your awakening, I don't know what that means. Fall into a mental state. Oh, okay. So, what is the moment though? What does that mean? The current moment may overwrite your existing return point. Does that mean my current consciousness may overwrite my existing return point? Or does that mean that somehow the events of the moment that you just came from would overwrite the events that happened when after you returned? I guess I need a little bit of clarification. That's something to be extremely careful about. I'm not too sure what that meant. No, please excuse me if I'm wrong, but did you use time rewind? From that reaction, I suppose you did. In that case, there's no need for me to explain further. Is that true? No, I won't even ask. Well, you just explained it to me as if I came back from using time rewind, correct? Oh, I'm not too sure. Without some visual kind of, it's harder to understand, but without some visual, close up of a face changing, just as something occurred. I don't know. It's hard for me to understand. Then what happened in the future? The original plan was for you to avoid using your ability if possible. I found the institute that once researched Amelia's illness decades in the future. But when I arrived, the place had already been shut down long ago. It was a small facility that had clearly struggled financially. There were no significant results, barely any reputation, almost no trace of how long they operated or what exactly they studied. It's a relief you found the place at all, but decades in the future, in a way that it seems like we forced too much onto you, the person who suffered the most in all this. What I will say, it's a very wordy visual novel, but a lot of it takes place in this one space with three people talking to each other, and as such, it's very heady in a way that requires very good writing for it to be interesting. And this is very good writing, but I am starting to feel a bit itchy about things happening. Anyway, I'm truly sorry. I don't know if we could ever repay the time you've endured. Well, it's fine. A lot happened to me during that time. For now, let's focus on what we can do. Gavin, I'd like your help researching Amelia's illness. We might not be able to develop a cure ourselves, but maybe we can collect data to support future research. And Father, I need you to gather investment funds for the institute that will be built in the future. What? Right, of course. We still have time, so I'd like to prepare thoroughly and avoid any mistakes. I'll gather what we need and be back soon. Please wait a moment. It has no music and very few sound effects that could help make this a better sort of, a more full sort of experience, I would feel. Yeah. I just want to reply to someone just to see. Okay, cool. I'll give this 30 seconds. There's something I want to confirm. Mr. Na, did you really return from decades into the future? Yes, I was nervous since it was my first time, but following your instructions, I managed somehow. The scenery changed so suddenly, it was a little startling at first. In that case, why don't I have any memories of that future? Now that you mention it, you did say something like you only need to convince Kevin before I left. Still, I was the one who used the ability, so wouldn't it make sense that I'm the only one who remembers? It's often said that only one person with a given ability exists in the world, but that's not entirely accurate. In cases like telepathy, dream sharing, or pain linking, even people without abilities can briefly experience those powers when connected to a holder. They also tend to remember the experience clearly. You took Kevin's place as the world's time rewinder. I couldn't confirm it directly, but if you truly returned, I should have sensed some kind of shift since I had the same power. What triggered my suspicion was your behavior. That dizziness was just like how I felt whenever I used the ability. So let me ask you, did your future self look exactly the same as you do now? Yes, that's true, though I'm honestly not sure what you're getting at. This time loop has taught me something important. Abilities don't follow ordinary logic. In my excitement at your awakening, I overlooked one crucial possibility. You might have awakened an ability entirely different from mine. If you've also inherited ageless longevity or something similar, it could have influenced your ability in ways we didn't anticipate. This isn't just speculation. It may be the most likely explanation we have for what's happening. So how about leaping forward this time instead of going to the past? Since we've already settled on our roles and plans, perhaps you'll find changes waiting for you in the future. More than anything, if it works, it could save you from having to shoulder this burden again and again. It's a little bit sudden, but it does make sense. If what you're saying is true, then I think it's worth a try. I'll give it a shot, but I'm not sure if it'll actually work. Oh. Did it work? I can't believe I actually made it to the future, but what is this place? Don't tell me the research lab was replaced by some other facility. Oh, you really came? We've been expecting you. Huh? You know who I am? I'm sorry, you see, ever since this institute was first established, there's been people consistently supporting us. We've always wanted to thank them directly, but they kindly declined every time. Then one day they contacted us out of the blue and asked us to give this new medicine to a young man who'd visit today. I see. Well, I've received it. Thank you. If you don't mind, could you pass along our gratitude to your acquaintance who supported us? Yes, of course. Well, that would be Gavin and Kevin, wouldn't it? Thank you so much. We look forward to your continued support. I've brought the medicine, just as Gavin said. It seems my ability isn't just about rewinding time. How surprising. Isn't it? If my ability lets me leap both forward and backward in time, then calling it time rewinder might not be right anymore. That's not what I meant. Do you remember anything from the day you leapt into the future? When I came to, I was already standing in front of a new research institute. Aside from that, not much else comes to mind. Since that day, I've felt something off about you. Since what day? Even when I tried asking if you'd attempted a leap to the future, you had no memory of it whatsoever. More precisely, it was as if any conversation about your ability was completely impossible. That made me think of a few possibilities. For example, maybe when you leapt through time, your consciousness disappeared and only your empty body remained. But that body still acted exactly like you, which only made things even more confusing. Are you saying there was another version of me acting in my place while I wasn't aware of anything? Precisely, you followed our plan and completely avoided using your ability. It reminded me of the relationship between myself and Kevin. One side that lost its power and remained in reality, and the other that continued on with the flow of the time loop. Perhaps your ability was designed to prevent interference from your alternate self. Then that self lived out decades in my place? That's one way to put it. Either way, I'm just glad you made it back safely. Truly, you've done well, Noah, and now we finally have the medicine, we can see the end ahead. Once midnight passes, let's begin. I don't know if I understood that entirely. It's just like when you leave a body, what takes that place? Is it like a tulpa, or is it like some kind of like stand-in? And it's hard to think about how they knew that you were a shell. A lot of this is quite logically procedural in nature, but it's acting quite quickly to the point where I'm finding some of it hard to find some sort of significance. Feels a bit rushed, as like oh, I actually saw you were like this, so then you were like this, and this is why, but it's not really. Some of it's not really rooted in conflict per se, other than, oh, did you know that this happened? And it's like, oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. It's maybe it's like a puzzle logic type thing. Anyway, what I'm saying is it's fine. It might not emotionally resonate with me, even if it does make sense within the framework that this game is trying to present it as. And I guess it doesn't really help that I don't quite understand all of the mechanics. I'm going to add a minute because I was rambling. Amelia, I brought the medicine. This time I'm sure it'll work. How are you feeling? The pain is completely gone. As expected, medicine from the future really is something else. Why are you all so surprised? If I'm going to be the partner of a time rewinder, I should at least be this perceptive, don't you think? The moment I saw those two who look so much like you, I knew it. We're caught up in something really big, aren't we? Yeah, it's a long story, but they're the ones who saved us. It's been a very long time since the day you remember, but finally now we've managed to save you. You don't have to say it, I can see it all on your face. You must have suffered so much carrying it all alone. I'm sorry I just laid there without knowing anything. I don't think I feel that. Did we suffer so much carrying it all alone, or did we just go vloom, 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 back in time? And Amelia's just like, I'm sorry, I was sick. And without knowing anything, but you just said you knew something. No, don't be. There's nothing for you to apologize for. If only I'd come to my senses a little sooner. What does that mean? Come to my senses? Like, but knowing that you know? What would that do? That wouldn't save the fact they're in a time loop. All right, let's not dwell on that now. This is a time for celebration. Well, how is this going to actually work? How are they going to come out of a time loop? Aren't they just going to be in there And isn't she just going to get sick again? How does this work? No, would you help with the preparations? Of course. Also, we should give them some time alone. Aren't they just going to reset? And how do they get food in there? Isn't there a time loop? Isn't there a time thing? How do they get food in there? I thought they just live the same day over and over. Oh, is there some way of passing an object through? Because they talked about item duplication, but what is that? Oh, I'm so confused. How do they get a table like that in there? Maybe they moved it in there. And if they moved it in there, how come a living being can pass through, but an object can pass through, but a living being cannot? I don't know. Anyway, thank you, Gavin, but you know me well. I've always had a good intuition, and this time I'm thinking I'm going to disappoint you again. I just hope this doesn't break everyone's hearts. Mr. No, I'm sorry. Please take care of them for me. When everyone woke up, Amelia had already passed away. The long way to enter the time loop never came. The loop space remained. Of course. Gavin sat with his head down, holding Amelia's hand. I need to pull myself together. There must be a way. I have to go back to the past and then... What does that mean, though? I don't know. Remove the time loop. I guess, yeah, it matters, right? Let me explain the ability Time Rewind. Unlike most abilities, this one has a unique feature. There's no need to explain further. Right now, what I need is more information about the time loop. The whole plan needs to be completely reworked. We treated Amelia's illness, but the loop didn't stop. Wait, what are you talking about all of a sudden? He's saying he came back from the future, Kevin. Mr. Noah, would you be willing to tell us what happened? The power to leap between the past and the future. I can't even imagine how much you endured repeating that over and over. I decided to call this ability Time Leap. More importantly, Gavin, I'd like to know why you created this plan in the first place. All I wanted to save her, Amelia. I believe her death was what triggered the instability in my power. If I could change fate within the space, then I believed it might also change the future of the real world. You said that because you and my father are the same person, you can't leave this room, right? Correct, though it's only a theory, of course. But if this loop space disappears, there will still be two Gavins left in the world, even if they have different names and appearances. Couldn't that be the reason the loop won't end? There's still one way left. No, that's the future we're going to face eventually. Even if it has the highest chance of success, it doesn't mean it's the right solution. Don't make a rash decision. What's the solution? There's still one thing we haven't tried yet. Either Gavin or I disappears. Since I've already lost my powers, I might be the key to breaking this loop. So that's the future you're talking about. I'm sorry, but I can't agree with that. Is that really a choice a father with a wife and son should make? Sorry. It just woke up. That's why I'm yawning a bit. You're right. I'm sorry. Okay, change their mind quickly. I've made up my mind. I don't know how long it'll take, but I have an idea. I need my mother's help too. You mean Leah? What kind of idea? In the future I came from, research into abilities had finally begun in earnest. With the help of my mother's family, I plan to speed up that progress and study my ability. I've heard that depending on the ability, even ordinary people can receive and use its power. So I'm thinking maybe I can create a device based on my power that anyone can use. Let's call it a time machine. A machine that lets anyone use a supernatural power. If something that dangerous becomes known to the world, it could throw society into chaos. I know, I'm not even sure it's possible, and it'll likely take a long time, but it's the only option left. Might sound far-fetched. It does make a certain amount of sense, though. If we can overcome the limitations of the return point through artificial means, we might be able to trial the options we've never considered before. Interesting. One sec. Even if I made peace with Lily in the future, there's no guarantee she'd agree to such an unrealistic plan in the present. She did agree to awaken my powers, remember? Maybe this time I'll get to hear her true reasons for that. You'll come with me, right? When I brought up the idea, my mother smiled, almost as if she'd been waiting for it. She calmly yet passionately offered many suggestions for what I should do next, as if she had known from the beginning this moment would come. Saying she had no intention of stopping her son's resolve, the mother quietly looked at the father, and her eyes was a complexity of emotions that words could not fully express. I completed the time machine just as you ask. It's designed for one-way travel, only to the past. Shortening the develop time was important. This will be enough. If you return to a point before the time loop began and cure Amelia, you know what will happen, don't you? And of course, Lilia looks out the same age as us. But Lilia's blonde, and we're blonde, and that makes sense. Even so, will you go? Yes. Amelia's illness was the beginning of everything. If that illness had never happened, I likely wouldn't have even been born. Looking back, I lived a truly satisfying life, so I have no regrets. Those two, they've become family like me. Now I just want them to be happy. That's quick, though. We didn't really get a sense from our point of view how they became family, because we didn't get to see them grow up, and we didn't get to see all those things happen. Now they're like, those two, they're family now. And like, oh, that's quick. I think because a lot of it is very procedurally based. I keep saying that on information, that it's hard to bring something that's emotionally hard hitting if everything happens as a discussion between three people in a room about the the logical implications of how time travel works in this universe and what the abilities are and what to call these things, to the point where when Noah says these two, they're like family to me, I'm like, I don't, okay, we haven't really seen them become family. We don't have a reason to care. I think I can finally rest now. Time leap, it's truly a lonely power. Now I truly understand. Well, that's the thing. You said they're like family to me, and you said time loop, it's a lonely power. But if they're like family to you, why is it a lonely power? Maybe family is something that it doesn't actually come from, being close to someone. Because if you have family that you care about, I mean, I guess it's, well, I wouldn't think you're lonely if you have that. Now, I truly understand why Gavin stopped using his ability after falling in love with Amelia. I see, if that's what you want, I won't try to stop you. Once the time machine activates, you might not be able to return. I'll be here waiting. If you have anything left to do, make sure you finish it before you go. If you want to talk to everyone, it might be a good idea to go to the period where the medicine was completed. Okay. Even now, we still haven't figured out what your ability truly is. We confirmed that one of your relatives awakened ageless longevity. In your case, could it be the ability of eternal youth? Isn't that the same as ageless longevity? Like ageless meaning you do not age, meaning you are eternally young? Ageless longevity is eternal youth, right? What's the difference? Abilities often depend on how you use them. Maybe it's something like time freeze, who knows? But doesn't that time freeze for everyone? What, like, okay. Because you don't freeze time for yourself. I don't understand that one. Sorry. By the way, this time machine, its design is pretty unusual. There's a reason for it. And if I remember correctly, you're the one who said the appearance didn't matter, right? Well, yeah, it did. Okay. So I guess we go back to the near future where it was invented or something. I brought the medicine back from the institute and returned to the mansion. After Amelia stabilized, I shared everything that had happened. Even after you left, we continued what we had set out to do in case something went wrong. I still had to pass on the medicine after returning to the past. There hadn't been any problems, so I hadn't thought much of it. Thanks to your constant efforts, I was able to make it this far. I thought maybe someday I'd see Amelia healthy today. Looks like all that effort was worth it. I'm sorry to bring this all up when you're only just stabilized, but I really wanted to speak with you just once. Oh, this is younger Amelia, of course. From the moment we first met, I had a feeling it wouldn't be good news, but I've seen that look before. The eyes of someone who's been through too much and made up their mind. So no more words are needed. No need to apologize. I should be the one thanking you. Come to think of it, Amelia, do you have an ability too? Sometimes when I see someone, I see memories of them I've never lived myself. I don't know if that counts as an ability. I always wish I had a way to help Gavin. Right now, I just feel disappointed in myself for not being able to do anything. Okay, so now do we go somewhere else now? That day. Mr. No, I'd like to ask you to help us. Please work with Kevin to investigate the disease and find a treatment. That won't be necessary. I found a way to end the time loop. Oh? I explained the time machine built in the future and everything that had happened. Gavin and my father were left speechless for a moment. Oh, go talk to them. Rewind. No, you called it time leap, right? If I didn't know you were a holder, I wouldn't have believed it. I began with this full resolve, but to think it was impossible from the very start. Still, Noah, why did you come back to this point in time? I just wanted to see you once more the way you were before. I hope everything turns out well. Yeah, I hope so too. I don't even know what to say. I'm happy Amelia can be saved, but a conclusion that demands someone's sacrifice, that's not what I ever wanted. And really, you have no reason to go this far, Mr. Noah. I haven't lived completely cut off from others, but as more and more people left my life, I began to keep my distance. So please speak comfortably, Gavin. You may not know it, but across the centuries I've lived, besides my mother, you were the only one who remained by my side without change. I hope you and my father can live happily in this new world, but since I can't be certain how things will turn out, I might be the one who owes you an apology. How could I speak casually after hearing that? And don't apologize. I don't care what happens to me. Thank you for saving Amelia. Okay, let's go to the far future, I guess, now. By the way, this time machine... Oh, wait, yeah. Thought I've talked to everyone, right? Have I? Gavin, I came to say goodbye. I just saw the completed time machine. To think you actually made it, even the impossible becomes possible with enough time, I suppose. I used my ability as a reference, but I eventually gave up on understanding how it works. I'll be honest, me too with the story. Some of it I understood, but some of it was just quite difficult to pin down. Maybe if there was a diagram, it would help me. I don't know. And I've watched some time travel stuff like Primer or Primer. Quite a heady time travel, thing, and others, but it's just sometimes it does confuse me, and a diagram is needed to figure out. And all of this has been squashed into a small story. I'm not sure it 100% works emotionally for me, but I'll get to that later. But I think it's a veritable effort. It's just a lot. It's a lot within an hour to kind of push all this in here, and when you do that with a lot of logic, it's hard to sort of nail the emotional aspects of things. But that's just my view. Let's keep going. Anyway, thank you, Noah. I never imagined it would come to this. In the end, I pushed all the burden onto someone I owe for life. My father once said the same thing. You remember, right? You told me when all this was over I could ask anything. I think now's the time. Just one question. Yes, I remember. I have no problem with that. But are you sure this is what you want? Asking a question? Why would this be hard? I am. Since that day, this is the only truth I've really wanted to know. Did you love my mother? Oh, between you and Kevin, who was the real Gavin? Gavin left the room, and when midnight came, the loop space filled in the empty spot where Gavin should have been. So we concluded the one who stepped outside, the one known as Kevin, was the original Gavin. But as time passed, I realized Kevin had begun to change. After Amelia passed away, the loop space was born. Ever since this room and the outside world split apart, in your world, Amelia never existed to begin with. People forgot her. Kevin was no exception. One day, I don't get this. Why would you not notice that Kevin was not noticed by the world? One day, Kevin returned home after a long time away, searching for a holder with the ability we needed for our plan. Until he rediscovered this room, he had completely forgotten about me and Amelia. Perhaps because he was once an original holder, seeing us again helped him recover part of those memories. But the influence of a world where Amelia was erased had already taken hold. To Kevin, we became strangers. Oh, I see. Just neighbors you forget unless you see them often. His memories of Gavin and Amelia weren't memories at all. They were just a result of repetition. Yeah, like seeing a photo and thinking that you were part of that memory, even if you weren't. If the one who truly loved Amelia is the real Gavin you spoke of, then in your world that Gavin never existed. Have you ever wondered why Kevin and I, who were once the same person, end up with different names? It's strange. I didn't even realize it until long after I met him. There must have been the moment when Kevin fully became a part of this world. No matter what we believed, the world had changed. As if Kevin had always lived not as Gavin, but as Kevin. That makes sense. So when the world diverges and when these two duplicated, once, by the way, because you're only allowed to duplicate once, going outside from the room to our universe, apparently, then slowly the thing that will be moved will be turned to conform to a world that is separate from the reality of the other parallel dimension, per se. It's heady. I don't know if I fully understand it, but something like that. Kevin told Lilia everything, just as I once confessed everything to Amelia, so I believe your father's love for Lilia was real. Thank you. I need to hear that from someone who remembers everything. Then before you leave, shouldn't you say goodbye to your father too? I was just about to. I really wanted to show you the time machine, but I finished it too late. I wish we could all live together in the changed world, but it's not going to be possible. If there really is an afterlife, what happens to someone whose existence was erased from this world? Let's go. Once the time machine activates, you might not be able to return. Okay, time to get going. What about talking to her? Do you want to talk to everyone? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I think we already have. We've gone to the past already. Chronocide, beyond the paradox. Where are we now? Prehistoric times? That looks like a wall tile, I will say. This road tile looks like a wall tile. It's got the grass on the bottom, and it looks vertical because it's got the shadows on the top. Please take this medicine. I'm sure it will help. I've never seen you before. What are you up to? We don't need anything like that. Take it and leave. Oh, they don't know him. Thank you. Amelia? He left without saying much, but it seems really suspicious. How could you accept something so shady without question? Don't tell me you're actually thinking of taking that medicine. We've never told anyone about your illness. Wait, the doctor. You stay at the house. I'll go find the doctor to get the bottom of this. Gavin, calm down. But I know this probably isn't the case. Still, let me ask you something. You don't have a secret son or a brother I don't know about, do you? Well, of course not. There's nothing I've been hiding from you, not anymore. That man, for some reason, he reminded me a lot of you. Something tells me we can trust him. Who knows, maybe he really did come to the future to help me. The medicine was delivered. Amelia's illness will be fully cured. With the relief of finally reaching the end of this long journey, all the tension left my body. I quietly closed my eyes. Living in a dump? Amelia, how did you get here? Right after you gave me the medicine and left, my ability suddenly awakened. Maybe it was meeting you that triggered it. Countless fragments of memory flashed through my mind. At the moment I came to my senses, I rushed here. No, I'm so glad you're safe. Wait, are you Mother? I don't understand what you're saying. What is going on here? She's Mother. As research into the ability advanced in the future, new truths were uncovered. Even if the descendants of the ability holders didn't show any powers, they still carried the gene. With the right trigger, left trigger, R1 to R2 square triangle circle, that gene could awaken as a new ability. That's why I was able to awaken my own ability. While working on the time machine, we also discovered my ability, self-preservation, a power that allowed me to remain unchanged across time. Ah, okay, nice. I couldn't change fate the way you could, but I was able to share memories with my future self. Even if that's true, there's still so many things I don't understand. How long have you had that power, and why are you speaking through Amelia's body right now? Where should I begin? Not long after you were born, Kevin confessed everything to me about the plan to save Gavin and Amelia. At first I was furious when I heard it, but then my worry for you, who would have to carry all this, took over. That might have been the moment I awakened. Abilities often reflect the emotions or intentions present during their awakening. Maybe mine came from a desire to be there for you. As for Amelia, it's complicated. One thing is clear, when you came to this past, a new connection formed between Amelia and me. I saved Amelia, the time loop won't happen and I won't be born. So then who exactly am I standing here right now? You're like a Gavin. You're Soa. The reason you couldn't return here until now was simple. You had no physical body to transfer your consciousness into. From the moment you gained the ability to leap through time, you ceased to be a being bound to this world. You probably suspected it yourself, haven't you? When I traveled to the future, I was told another personality took over my body during the times I can't remember, just like Gavin and my father. Is that connected to this? Exactly. Kevin and Gavin developed distinct personalities because they existed in completely separate worlds. In your case, your consciousness itself became a world of its own. Now you can influence other timelines and worlds where a version of you exists. But in those timelines, the other Noahs, your counterparts, will live on without abilities, just like your father. That's impossible. Could that really be true? Noah, your ability isn't just time leaping. It's time sleeping. The true nature of ability is called Chronocide, the erasure of time. I shouldn't have been born. This should have never happened. It was about power born from your deep desire to reject your own existence. The thing is, we didn't really get any of that. Why would you bring that up now where it's like, I shouldn't have even been born, this should have never happened, when we didn't really get any build up to the main character's catharsis? We didn't get set up to it. So that, like, sorry, I understand that there's a lot of great, logic going on here, but sometimes you need to ground it in some emotional catharsis. And the way to do that is by setting up the issue pretty early on to be like, hey, the main character has a problem, and you can illustrate it in several ways. And then later on, this is the solution to the problem. But we've just gone to the solution, but we haven't set up the fact that the main character dreaded their own existence. I'll add half a minute to this because I ranted a bit. When you go to the past, you erase everyone's time. You go to the future, you erase your own time from the world. The periods you leap across using your ability, those timelines are erased. Only your starting point and destination remain. Whether it's the past or the future, and the timelines you erase, you're no longer a part of them. And it also feels like this is a plot for like a game that should be maybe 5 hours instead of 1. It's like so much, just like so much logic to dump onto you without, it's hard to to care about some of it because of the lack of the emotional stakes between the characters that have been established. Think back on all the times you use your ability. You've never been able to leap back into a timeline you've already passed through, right? That's why from now on you must be very careful when using your power. Then what about the time machine? How did that even work? The core component of this time machine was an antique left behind in this forest. Because it belonged to this era, it was possible to fix the arrival point precisely. Also, when I built the machine, I imbued it with part of my ability. It was designed to only go one way, but I needed a way to protect the future just in case. If you had tried to return right after you arrived here, you might have been able to go straight back to the future you came from. But now that's impossible. The future you knew no longer exists in this world line. See, you finally said the term world line, but we've never said it before. I came here prepared to let everything go, but now what am I supposed to do? And you're right, we still have something left to do. Come with me, Noah. We'll keep this a secret from Gavin and stay at the family estate while we find a way to save Kevin. Save Kevin? Why does it mean? Why do we care? Sorry. Yes, I will. As long as I'm still here, I can't let it end all like this. This time, for real, I'll find the future where no one is lost. Game design. Ah, nice. Well done. Thank you for making this game. Development, Neomonin. What's that quote about the timey-wimey, big ball of timey-wimey stuff that Monty Python said? Thank you for playing. Thank you. Oh, it's Doctor Who, sorry. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey bits or whatever. Big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. That's what this game was, yeah. Alright. Thank you for making this game. Chronocide Beyond the Paradox. My overall thoughts. You are a great writer of procedural content, of things of like that sort of reveal things one after the other, and that was evident early on when things were simpler, and I actually quite liked the simplicity of the interactions, and it began to get more and more complex about time, and as such it's a hardcore sort of time travel based short story that it basically hit the hour mark pretty well. It did start to get overwhelming to the point where I do like a little bit of emotional investment in there that's not just, oh, you're my father, so I should care about you, or oh, you're my mother, so I should care about you, darling mother. It seems to be an experiment in, being quite intense with the time travel stuff in ways that are logically plausible, and I did like that. I like the dialogue. The dialogue in general is very well written, and I think anything that you write in future will be flavored by that fact that you are just a good dialogue writer. So the one thing that makes me admire, the structure of this thing without always connecting to it emotionally is that there's a lot of interesting and cool ideas in here, and they are revealed with some sense of very accurate, reveal, but there's so many of them that I forgot about the part where I'm caring about the characters. Like just simple things. Maybe, when you do the flashbacks to a time when your mother is caring for you, or, oh, when your father and mother meet or something, or, something emotionally drawing into the story to make me care about the characters that are in the story. Sometimes they do this alongside the paradoxical things, but I found no real context to care about the characters that all these time things are happening to. And obviously the main character wants to solve, oh, I want to save my father now, I want to save my mother, Kevin. But to me, it was good. It was a nice exercise, but sometimes I felt like I don't even care about Gavin or Kevin, really. And that can often happen when you have a timey-wimey story, which is good, but you haven't really set up the stakes for people to care about your characters too much. See, after all this time, there was a reveal at the end. It's like, oh, you wanted to erase yourself. I don't deserve to exist, all this stuff. But I'm like, I don't even know who the main character is and what they want, other than, oh, I want to solve this paradox on an intellectual level. So I think maybe in future, what would draw me into a story like this would be some form of personal emotional stakes. And another thing you can do to use this is it's really, really good writing. It's really well done. The pacing is great. But just like using the visuals and the music and sound effects and editing of cutscenes more, a lot of this was just people talking in a room that could have been honestly better. This is probably better as a novel, because I don't see much of a use for the visuals really at all. Except to say, oh, this is how old this person is. There's a very, very slight usage of visuals, but most of it doesn't really require visuals. It could have gone for the visual novel, way of doing things, where you're just like, your portraits going around, which I love visual novels. I love reading them. I've read Umineko. Umineko is a mind screw visual novel that I adore. I adore, stuff that's very heady and mixes things up. But the thing with Umineko, for example, it mixes some very relatable dynamics between fathers and children, and they're like children just wanting to please their parents, and exes and things like, there's a bit of a brattiness about, that child doesn't actually belong to our family and stuff like that. This is just within the first episode of Umineko, so it's not massive spoilers or anything, but it's just family dynamics that root you in the story and make you empathize for the characters and make you go, I actually care about what happens to this character in the long term. So maybe this one felt like maybe 95% logic and 5% emotional stakes. I would prefer maybe a 50-50, like have 50% of the thing, about the emotional stakes of the characters and their backgrounds and why we should care about them. There was, because the 5% was she's actually dying over and over again, and I felt my heart tug because of that. But then I was like, okay, why should I care about that? Because how did they meet? What was their stories? What did they share? And we didn't get any of that. So after maybe the 20-minute to 30-minute mark, it began to be a lot of timey-wimey stuff over and over again without me actually learning why I wanted to care about the characters in the story. That's what I think about Chronocide. Very well written, nicely written moment to moment with the procedural stuff, but I just want something to care about conflict-wise, and I believe you're powerful enough of a writer to be able to just nail this out of the park. You just need to focus on the right things, in my opinion. Alright, and since I am a judge for the RPG Maker Game Jam 2025, I have to judge this entry based on each category, rating it out of a score of, each category has about 20 or 30 or 10 points to it. The rubric is on the RPG Maker Game Jam page, and I will do that now. I will say my thoughts on each category out loud while making comments and making a secret score, because scores will be revealed in due time. So, this one is Chronocide. I was actually supposed to play Ocean Roses first, but I played Chronocide instead. Alright, theme. Okay. Beyond expectations. The entire idea of a time travel plot is quite beyond expected. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of things about abilities, pushing people's power beyond what's expected of humans. But perhaps more points would be given if there was more of a central theme of expectation-led behavior, and if it were evident in the core loop of gameplay, admittedly of which there is very little in this game, but I think time travel is only tangentially related to going beyond expectations. The power stuff, the ability stuff, is more plausibly in this region, but being more obvious and or clever about its inclusion without directly referencing would gain more points. Something like that. Yeah, it's like that much. Gameplay. Now this is hard because this is a visual novel. The gameplay is therefore restricted as such. So I actually have to go by a slightly different definition, which is more strict. Gameplay to me would be the technical aspects of how the visual novel flowed and how it well, it was mostly a visual novel with some interactive moments. Because there's less gameplay in this, I have to be more harsh on the, I have to be more judgy on the very little gameplay there is, and the very little systems there are. So I have to really pare down on things. So gameplay, I have to say something like, because it's a visual novel, I have to focus in on the stuff that's minute, on the minutiae. More could be done to make going through the messages more compelling. The idea of the ability to change between timelines could be more exciting, and generally exploration is somewhat okay, but it could be more compelling. In general, the feel of this game is okay, but it definitely could be improved by a lot, and that's how I feel about the gameplay. Engagement. Procedurally, the story did bring me in for the first 20 minutes, but afterwards, for the first 20 minutes with very skillfully written dialogue, but afterwards it became clear that there wasn't really going to be emotional hooks in this game, but rather a lot of timey-wimey stuff, which is cool, but it's better, in my opinion, if it's rooted in characters I care about. And there wasn't enough character development to have me care. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Presentation. Quite bare bones. The maps were okay, but no music. No music is okay for a little bit, but for the whole thing, I feel it could have used some music here and there, especially for epic scenes. Also, much of the scenes were just 3 people talking in a room. The plot could be edited to make things more exciting or gameplay oriented even. And I love visual novels, but it was a bit static the whole time, even with the time jumping. Yeah, that's my idea of the presentation. The polish, bugless as far as I know. Yeah, I don't think there's any bugs. Alright, thank you for making this game. It's Chronocide Beyond the Paradox. I appreciate you very much. Every game's a gift, and keep making games. Clearly you have writing talent. That's something I should say about you, and very good writing, and procedural writing in particular. Just those characters, we need to care for them. You know, a wife dying it does matter, and it's a good way to get people in, because I used to use the trope, and it's a good trope because it gets people caring, because obviously, but you have to treat it very carefully, because if you use something as dark as that, you have to have a story that really backs it up emotionally, in my opinion. It can't be just a cheat code to get people to care about what's going on. Yeah, so that's how I feel about Chronocide Beyond the Paradox. Thanks for making games, and keep making games, keep being awesome. Cheers.